What is good, y'all? It is the Be Influential podcast where we dare you to be different. We give a voice to those change makers, rule breakers, and risk takers of today and help you be influential too. Y'all, you already know it's your girl, Angie Legg, your personal brand bestie. And with me today, I have my family, Miss Katie Smith, Miss Adventure Seeker. What is going on, girl? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Are you excited? Are you nervous? Like, what are you going through right now?
I actually feel like this is the one topic where I feel confident talking about it because it's been so
a big part of your life.
A big part of my life since I was a kid. Plus, also, it gives me a moment to, go to lunch with you afterward and plan our next adventure. So
y'all already know I love my margaritas, and we are definitely going to get you guys totally involved in the next round of adventures between me and Katie. So if you don't know already, we are going to be talking about how adventures can pretty much change your life. It really takes personal growth to the next level, and we've gone through so many and we've learned so many lessons. We just want to share them with you guys so you can kind of step outside of your comfort zone and find your own adventure and your own sense of freedom, because that's kind of like what it feels like when you take those risks. So let's get right into it. You guys already know we like to do the word of the week. How's your vocabulary? You're a smart chick. Your vocabulary is really, really good.
Fake it till you make it, you know?
We'll see if you know this one. Feckless. Feckless is weak, worthless, or ineffective.
It'll be my word of the week. I'll be using this about everybody now.
You feckless wench. We're real here. So we're going to try and use the word throughout the conversation. Okay. I feel like we're going to have many opportunities about our equipment acting feckless, about everything. Feckless planning, worthless planning. So let's get right into it. Why would anyone want to get into seemingly dangerous hobbies like backpacking and jumping out of planes? Like, what lessons are learned when you do adventure travel?
Well, I guess I kind of I grew up in basically a Volkswagen van driving to all the national parks when I was a kid, like any free time possible. My mom and my female next door neighbor would pack 6 kids into a van, and we would go to all the national parks. And I just grew up knowing that was like where I found a lot of comfort and safety, especially in a world, especially as a kid, which can be very, dramatic and go through a lot. So I found that was always my really safe comfort space. I knew that you could work hard and the payoff was visual and emotional.
You know what's so funny about that is that a lot of people feel that nature is a scary place, right? I don't want to go out there. The bears, the snakes, the mosquitoes, and the fact that you just find comfort in it, I think is so unique. I'm the same way. But when you immerse yourself in it, people, you can find comfort. You're not just like sleeping on the ground. She was in a van, the nomadic life.
Yeah. I mean, it was scary sometimes, having to sneak past some buffalo to get to the bathroom was, in the middle of the night was always fun. But I mean, as you know, it is scary. It can definitely be scary at some points, but it's such an adventure and you have such a payoff at the end. And when you kind of conquer that, when you get to the top of the mountain, you just realize that, you can do it. And nobody will ever have that experience as you just had unless they put the work in to do it.
To get out there, to step outside their comfort zone, to conquer fear. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get so much more into that because those are the main lessons, confidence, personal growth building, understanding, the difference between a big problem and a little problem.
Right.
Because when you put yourself in a situation where it is possibly life or death, everything, nothing else matters but the important stuff. So lots of lessons to be learned. I know that when COVID happened, one of the main lessons that I realized was happening through my adventure travels was, remember when the toilet paper ran out?
Oh,
Did you be honest? Did you go out and buy a lot of toilet paper?
no.
And right, we didn't, because we can literally live on a strand of toilet paper.
Who needs toilet paper?
If we honestly had to, like, there was no sense of urgency. Like, I had like 7 rolls. I was like, I'm pretty sure, people were buying pallets. And I was like, you guys have never lived off of a slice of 1 ply.
I mean,
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of adventures are out there? What kind of adventures do you take? You've done so many things. Like, I've seen you in the desert. I've seen you on the islands. Like, what kind of adventures do you love to take?
Honestly, I think that my favorite adventures are backpacking adventures.
What does backpacking do for you?
So, I mean, it's the preparation, it's the planning. So say, for example, I always want to go to Iceland. Well, you could go and have an adventure in Iceland, however you want, camper van, if that's what's good for you. I want to immerse myself in the things that people don't see, that you can't experience from a book or a photograph.
Or from a bus.
Or from a bus, exactly, that you really have to be in it and work hard for it. Those are, for me, the best type of adventures. Don't get me wrong. Fly me to an island, give me a margarita. I'm happy.
Adventure done.
But I'll probably end up finding something like, kayaking or I can't sit still on a vacation. So throw me in the great outdoors and let me see like what I can do.
I absolutely love that, because you're willing to take that risk. And sometimes it's not even risk, starting small. Like, yeah, you start in a van, but some fun adventures, like you said, kayaking. Like, start kayaking. They're absolutely everywhere. Go to Craigslist, get one for $150.
I think you could rent them for like $5 too on the Connecticut River. Just go give it a try.
And it's just like, one of my requirements, because we were talking about dating before we were coming in here. And one of my requirements is that he has to know how to row a boat. Like, if you cannot row a boat, I cannot be with you.
Thankfully, I'm at least with a sailor who can sail a boat while I sip my wine.
Fair. That's
a great adventure for me.
% fair. Okay, so backpacking is a lot of fun. I know I do scuba diving. I have this fear of drowning. And so in order to kind of like play with that idea and combat it, I had to learn how to scuba dive. I had to learn what it was like to be immersed underwater. And it's still terrifying.
It's terrifying.
But I've done it definitely a couple of times. And I'm literally so much better for it. Like, I understand that fear mindset is just stopping me from seeing. Have you been scuba diving or snorkeling?
So I have, first of all, I'm going to get my certificate, my scuba certificate. Yay. So another adventure.
More things.
Okay. So I went snorkeling. Okay. I've only gone snorkeling once before, and it was in the Galapagos, and I snorkeled over a shark, and I was like, never again. But I was in Turks and Caicos this past year, and on a boat, and the captain was like, okay, let's get our snorkel gear on. And I'm like, there's sharks in this water. Like, let's be real, guys. And so like, I very apprehensively went in. I had one of the guys like hold on to a little life raft with me and kind of take me around. And I loved it so much. So we got back on the boat and a dolphin came in, and I was just like, all right, let's get our gear on. We got to go. It's like, I was really apprehensive about getting in and doing it. And then I got in and did it. And I was like,
worth it.
Life
changing.
Go swim with a dolphin right now. See you guys. Put my rum punch down.
And I mean, there are real dangers. Like, I had to step over sea urchins. Like, have you ever seen a sea urchin?
I mean, not in
I
real
had
life.
they were everywhere, and you step on one and it goes through your foot.
Yeah, no
period.
thanks.
You know what I mean,
Yeah.
right? But that's what I had to do to scuba dive. You're careful. You're present.
Right.
Like a lot of times when you adventure, you become really, really present. So I do agree with you. Out of all of the things, backpacking is something that I've spent a lot of time doing, a lot of investment. I have a whole room of just gear.
Oh yeah. My dad went through my backpacking.
My life.
Exactly. My dad went through my backpacking stuff. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to grab a tent," and I was like, that's a 4-person 4-season tent, and you're going to Florida, so you probably are not going to want that one." I was like, "Let me go through my other tents with you."
7 tents, like no problem.
I was like, "This one's 2 pounds and has 1 pole. You'll love it." I really switched growing up. I used to love the camping in like a tent, and I would make it really luxurious. I had a roll-out wood floor, like really glamping. And now, like that, I've really invested in some great backpacking stuff. I'm like, nope. If it doesn't fit in my little 1-person tent that takes me 3 seconds to set up and 3 seconds to put away, I don't want it.
Bye. You've graduated to such another level, because we would carry 60-pound backpacks. So, one of the main reasons why we're talking about this subject right now is it's getting warmer. It's beautiful out. Memorial Day weekend is right around the corner. I know a ton of people who are going backpacking and all of these things. And I really want to start and kind of back up. We love backpacking, but what constitutes camping versus glamping versus backpacking?
So camping is just basically setting up a tent. I mean, set up a tent and sleep in it. Go camp in your backyard.
Okay. Wrong.
Am I wrong?
Yes, because
school me.
I'm telling you. So one of my friends from high school has this cute little teardrop camper. And somebody on her little thing on her post was just like, "That's not real camping. That's glamping. You're cheating." And she's just like, "It's not. It's camping. Absolutely." Right. And I said below it, I'm like, "It's literally called a camper."
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
And
I'm just used to tents. Absolutely, fully support. Get your camper. You could run AC in there. I'm very jealous. You got your own bathroom. I have to worry about, does Mother Nature have any not poisonous leaves out there?
And so there are different ways to camp.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So there are different ways to camp. And that's the discrepancy. So then there's glamping,
which I'm dying to try, by the way.
So you think RVing is glamping, or do you think staying in a tree house?
I think staying in a tree house, or like one of those safari tents that have like a full bed made for you, and like a little mini
fireplace
with a
mini fridge.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's trying to break into the mini fridge
I still haven't gone, so I'm this is what I'm envisioning. I'll probably get let down. I'll be like, "Where's my mini fridge?"
So, I feel like we do glamping. I feel like we find this happy medium. So I feel we'll go backpacking in the woods, sleeping on the ground, and then we'll end our trip at like the presidential suite
of the nicest hotel in that country.
And so, you know what I mean? Like a little bit, you can have both. Like you can do both.
Yeah.
But I just don't think I think people think it's all or nothing.
No, I mean, think for example, when we were in Banff and we had our tent set up at that one campground and we're just doing a couple of day hikes. But there was that hotel and restaurant down the street that had a full 5-star menu. And I was like, all I want right now is a martini. And so we showed up looking homeless. And I was trying to convince them that I was thinking about staying there.
When you travel, you do look homeless.
Yes.
Like
you haven't showered.
The 1950s anymore. I've got my sandals on and my leggings. Like I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm so good.
I haven't taken an official shower in 5 days. It's fine, guys. I'm like, and I'm trying to convince them. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking of staying at your resort, but I figured I'd get a bite to eat first. I was like, otherwise they're throwing us out.
That's right. Oh my God. They were actually very good. They were very good. Everybody is so accommodating. Actually, we never had trouble as Americans. Like, we're very American. We just never really ran into issues, right?
Sure. No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
That was awkward. I feel like I had.
Am I very American? That was really where I got. Am I very American?
Yes.
Oh.
What would you?
I don't know.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So big shout out, you guys. We are live here at the Downtime Studio production in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Holla to the team, Tony and Mike behind the scene. Big shout out to Sharon Tell. She couldn't be here today. Miss you so much, boo. And just not the same, but still, you guys, I have Miss Katie Smith, adventure hobbyist, enthusiast, and bad chick of the universe. We are talking about how adventure travel has helped us grow in so many different ways and has taught us so many lessons. And we really embrace nature. Nature is where we go to recharge. It is the, natural human recharging station. So anytime you can get out to nature, we highly recommend it. So we're hoping that the stories that we share are going to inspire you to get out there and do something absolutely amazing this summer. So this next topic is for the ladies. Now, backpacking and a lot of outdoor sports are male dominated. And so, the challenges of that aren't obviously wage inequality right now, you know what I mean, for hobbyists. But the challenge is the equipment. The women's equipment is not made with the same features as a lot of male equipment.
Right.
We're provided really limited colors that are always pink and purple,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe we'll get a turquoise and a blue. But how do you feel? How have you navigated the, adventure travel industry for yourself as a woman?
I have found it very stereotypical. As far as I can walk in, let's say I'm after work and I'm wearing like a pencil skirt and some heels. And for example, and I walk into a sporting goods store. Anyway, and I'm shopping this actually happened. I'm shopping for a new pack, the one that I have now. And I'm telling this guy, like, okay, this is where I've been. He's like, oh, have you done any? And I was like, yeah, I've done winter backpacking in the Rockies. I've done the 100-mile wilderness, most of the Appalachian Trail.
Check.
And he's like, well, let me just show you. And he's putting weights in the pack and telling me how to properly put a pack on. And it's just like, are you mansplaining a backpack to me, dude? And I feel like 95% of the time, that's exactly what happens. I'm looked at and I'm just assumed she doesn't know anything.
And I remember it wasn't a backpack, but it was a fishing pole. And I was like, I'm planning on catching big freaking fish. And so he's like, this is definitely the pole. And I didn't know anything about poles. So I was like, okay, if you're telling me this can catch this size fish, then I'm good. I brought it home and my guy was like, what the F is that? Is that for your little brother, Aunt? I'm like, no. And why, why?
This assumption.
Why? Yes, exactly.
Even if we're telling them one thing, they're telling us something completely different, and it's very frustrating for sure.
Completely. So, for the ladies out there, it can be frustrating when you're, looking at all of this equipment, right? And someone is telling you that it's either, are you sure?
Do you know the difference between this lumen and that lumen? I'm like, well, it kind of is common sense. That one has more lumen, so I'm going to say it probably has more light.
And then they're like, when I backpacked my first trail of 1,000 miles, I'm like, bro, I'm about to drop $400. We need to speed this up. Time is money.
Yes.
Do you remember when you first went and bought your first equipment, your first real, I researched this is what I want, I'm going into the store and I'm ready to camp?
I do. And then, well, first of all, I do. And then I remember them telling me how much it was going to cost. And I was like, I don't think my credit card limit is that high. Let's put some things back.
I'll take this and this. It's so easy to get crazy in that store.
It is. And you know what? There are very reasonable, like REI makes a lot of great things.
Yep.
That are just REI brand. And or you can pay if you want the brand name. You could pay 5 times as much, but it's not necessarily better quality.
I mix it up. You know what I mean? Depending on what it is. Like my tent and my sleeping bags, I'm gonna go brand quality, but my spoons and my you know what I mean? Yeah, just like really basic things. I totally
like, do you want an ultra lightweight spoon? And I'm like, well, this one's plastic, so it's not that heavy. I'm good. I'll spend $3 on it.
You guys, you can get so crafty with your necessities.
Even your food.
Backpacking. Exactly.
Like they want to sell you $7 or up to $12 freeze-dried food per meal. I'm like, you could also just take some mashed potatoes. Some fake potatoes,
and some
oatmeal.
Some oatmeal.
Yep.
Soup is heavy, but now it's kind of like you can probably find it like in a package, in like a bag.
Oh, for sure. Like just add water.
You know what I mean? Yep. So there are so many ways. Now we've done a lot of traveling together. I consider this a lot of traveling because I think it's difficult to find a travel buddy who's not your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And traveling with somebody is not hanging out with them.
Oh, no.
Traveling with somebody is not having a margarita in Iceland. Okay. There are ups and downs. There's a lot of things that can go wrong when you're traveling.
Do a lot of people have margaritas in Iceland?
Did we? My obsession with margaritas is the next time we go to Iceland, I will be sure to have a margarita.
Sorry, keep going.
I will be sure. No, but we had everything else. We were literally backpacking with about a 6-pack.
It was a full glass bottle of wine.
Because luckily these places literally would have just
go
overseas.
They know how to do it right.
So one of the things is making sure that you guys want to do the same things.
Yeah.
We enjoy carrying an extra 15 pounds of wine to drink it later.
Yeah. Plus, like an outfit change for when we get to the nice hotel. I'm not wearing this to my nice hotel dinner. I'm putting on an outfit, but you have to carry it on your back. You're committing to that extra weight.
100%. And you guys have to be on that same level because you can't be asking, like if I decided to go 40 pounds and you went 60, you can't be asking me to carry a ton of extra weight. Sometimes switching, you know what I mean?
Right, like maybe totally I'll carry the water just to make it easier, but like.
But carrying like a lot of extra weight for somebody is burdensome.
Oh, for sure. Every pound counts. I mean, that's why you pay $100 for a chair that's less than a pound. That chair is worth it.
How did you know that I wasn't going to back out? Like our very first adventure, we decided to go to the Canadian Rockies, Banff, and it is bear country. We were going in their springtime or something like that.
Right.
And
when they're all waking up from hibernation and are very hungry.
It's still cold. It goes from hot to winter in a day. And so there was a lot of challenges. So how did you know that I wasn't going to back out? Like what were the key things for us that we knew that we could go middle of nowhere and be okay?
Well, first of all, have you met you? You don't back down from anything. You put your mind on something and you do not put your, and I've known you basically,
family.
And I know that you have the same experience as far as, growing up and like being outside and like being with all the boys who love to go backpacking. And like, it's very tough, especially when you have that desire. You don't find many people that even want to do that. I mean, it's very difficult as a woman because you don't meet, especially as like people are settling down and having kids. It's hard enough to find another woman that wants to do something. And I'm not saying you have to travel with a woman at all, but I found that you don't get invited on the boys' trips unless you are in a relationship with one of them.
Right, exactly.
And I think that we hadn't seen each other in a few years, and we had some wine and started being like, you know what, screw it. We don't need it. Like, and I just,
We knew
we
out.
thought like we hadn't seen each other in so long, but we have the exact same mentality.
Mindset.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's so important no matter who. I mean, there are people who can't travel with their partners.
Right.
Like there's too much anxiety. You know, some people get a lot of anxiety flying, traveling. It is stressful, you know, but I think you kind of get a little anxiety taking off. Like you're a little.
I do not fly well.
A little. She was like, "Oh, and by the way, like we're just getting on the plane." She's like, "By the way, I've got my Xanax."
And I will be ordering booze immediately.
But you know,
okay.
We can laugh at that, and you know, but that's what's so important is that you have to sit down, make sure. And we'd hung out a couple of times. Would you ever do like a blind travel hookup date? You know what I mean?
I've thought about it, especially now that there's so many like clubs and groups you can join. I've definitely thought about it and I've joined the groups. I have yet to actually commit. And like I'm part of the Appalachian Mountain Club and they do things.
Yes.
I still have yet to commit to going and doing it with other people because I think they're going to judge me.
Oh my gosh. That is elite. Judge you about what?
My cocktail hour.
They will. Most of them will. Yes, absolutely. But it's because they'd be jealous.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Do you play so I feel like that's on the same lines of do you play music when you're hiking?
I play music only to keep the bears away. But also it's fun to I feel like we sang Beyonce for the whole trail.
We did. We played when
we were in Banff and we were going through like where it was all brush and on a river where like literally you won't be able to see a bear and they won't be able to see you. There's water, so they could be drinking and not hear you, and vice versa. And there was no clear path. And I was like, oh, we got to just sing, whatever. And she has a beautiful voice. So I was like, just make it loud. Just make them hear us.
Just sing it, girls. And that's exactly what we did. And I love that. We do. We just get along in so many facets. And we've gone through, we're actually about to get into it because we're going to talk a little bit about some of the adventures, what it was like, some of the scariest moments, and some of the things on our bucket list. So they've been hearing a lot about where we've gone, Banff, Iceland, and it sounds fun because we're here and we're alive. But let's talk about the realities of adventure travel and, you know, stepping outside your comfort zone into a space that could be potentially dangerous. You know, what was the scariest travel moment, whether it was with me or anywhere that you had, and what went through your head? What happened?
Okay, so there are two that are tied, and one is with you and one's not with you. I was winter backpacking in the Rockies, and you have to snowshoe, obviously, just the weight of it. And I was convinced, I was like, I don't really feel like these are making that much of a difference. They're just heavy and slowing me down. And I was out looking for firewood. I was like, I don't have my full pack on. It's fine. I take off one snowshoe. I put my foot down and I just immediately start to fall through. And thankfully somebody was right there to grab me, but there was a river running underneath all the snow. And that's when I learned, just wear your snowshoes. It sucks. I keep them on.
Oh my gosh. There's so much preparation. And even for somebody who is, and this isn't to scare you guys, but there is preparation. And these are lessons that you should be learning from us. But, you know, I feel also, because you're like a cat, you're shifty, and you know, you can get yourself out of like really crazy circumstances. So I believe your ability would be, you know, 1 to none. I feel like you would get out of it, but that's really, really scary.
It's very scary.
What was the second thing?
The second one was, oh God, now they're all coming back. It's like, it's bad flashbacks.
There's
it's bad flashbacks.
There's actually so many.
I mean, there was a full scramble where like I was holding on to a twig and I was like, if this twig goes, because it was about this deep and just a straight rock wall. This twig goes, and my water was shifting up top. I was like, I'm falling. I'm falling like 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
But the one I was thinking about with you was we were in Iceland and we were trying to outrun a snowstorm. And
no big deal.
Yeah, because the snowstorms there are serious.
And the problem is that you wake up early, you get on the trail, you move, and you have two options on the trail that we were on. You can stop at this safety point, which was about a 6-hour hike into the middle of Iceland. And if you hadn't made reservations, you had two options. You can camp outside, and what Katie's talking about is this blizzard, or you can continue on. So
I think like another
8 hours.
Yeah.
No, it was,
I think we
walked 16 hours.
Yeah, that was tough. But so we realized, like, okay, we would have to set up our tents. There's a huge blizzard coming. Like, let's just push through and make it to the next one. Like, we had enough time. And we were probably like an hour away from camp, and you could see the clouds and the storm coming in, and there would be these big gusts of wind, and we had to make our way to the next flat trail. You had to go up basically a side of a mountain that was pretty much made of sand.
Yeah, exactly.
And just a path maybe this big, and then a steep drop. And I remember I'm almost at the top of it, and this huge gust of wind comes, and my foot's like the sand just basically gives out. And I scrambled to get to, with all my might, scrambled to get to the top of that, because otherwise I would have fallen straight down. I mean, that was like, I almost just died there moment.
And I was directly under her, watching her go through this, and it paralyzed me. I was now stuck on this mountain, on the side of this cliff. You just barely made it. And she's athletic. She does like triathlons for triathletes.
Marathons.
It's too much. It's still too much for me. But, I'm in shape, but she's crazy in shape. And so I'm looking at this chick. I'm like, how did you do it? She's like, I don't know, just do it.
The power of God and like the need to live.
She was like, pray. I was just like, fuck. And so she's like, I can't help you. And I'm like, I know. And I'm panicking. And yeah, you literally 1,000 feet into a freezing cold river stream. And rocks and everything. So it was crazy. And you have to really find that voice. Like, did you hear a voice? Like, was it?
You have to just tell yourself you can do it. You don't have another choice. You can't second guess yourself. You have to, because there's no going back. I mean, there's no going back. So you have to just do it. But most of backpacking is not that scary.
We made it. But but you carry that. We carry these skills literally into the rest of our entire existence. We now can go after bigger goals in our life, because what's the worst that could happen?
Right.
You die. You know what I mean? Been there, done that.
You're not falling off a cliff.
Period. And so it really puts so much into perspective. So I obviously love that story.
Is that your scariest moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was really scary.
Absolutely.
And then we still had another at least hour to outrun this. I mean, that's not where it ended.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, quick, the storm is coming.
I mean, this crazy storm, heavy rain. We made it.
Well, it was snowing where we were up in the mountains. We had to make it down. And then there was just a crazy rainstorm. But we were like, if we had stayed and had to hike through all of that snow that they got up there.
I know.
Oh, thank God.
We just stayed ahead of it. Just barely. But we were exhausted too. So anyways, what are some of those lessons? So now, we've put ourselves into these situations. We're coming up to creating a new adventure experience. What is it that we want from this next adventure? Because Banff and Iceland are obviously about beauty, but Banff was definitely more bougie, and Iceland was really, really hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
We have adventures like zip lining to do. You know what I mean? What else is out there? White River rafting. Yep. There's so many.
There's so much to do.
Like,
And
what is it that you want from the next adventure?
I mean, I even thought about like, there's so many great places out west to go hiking. There's so many great national parks. And I was like, oh, we could do like a hot spring hop. So you find like the best hot springs and you do like you stay there for 2 days and you camp, you hike, it doesn't always have to be backpacking. You can set up your stuff. Even if you go backpacking, you set your stuff somewhere, there's so much to see and do. So sometimes sticking to one trail isn't always the best thing to do when you're out there. Sometimes
you want to change it up.
Yeah, you can change it up. If you want to go experience it by putting in the work, that's not always on, a set trail that just starts from point A and ends at point B. Sometimes that's setting your stuff down and just going and exploring everything which is just challenging.
Honestly, hiking, day hikes there and back. I mean, sometimes you do have to still whip out a map. We use maps, guys. Like,
oh, you have to have a real map.
We have compasses, maps. These skills, I just can't.
Because a lot of times you can't see a trail. Like, there's not people really maintaining trails when you're in the middle of a wilderness. Like, there are, but at the same time, it's nature. So if you don't have a map and you don't know how to read a compass, you're going to look and be like, I have no idea where I'm going.
And not for nothing, like, love Connecticut's trails, but there are some that, like, all of a sudden you're completely off trail. Mm-hmm. You don't know where you are. The sun is setting and you have to recognize, like, landmarks. Okay, I saw that. Okay, I remember this. You have to start remembering geographic landmarks and positioning just to get back sometimes. Like, these are...
See, but I get lost very easily and I don't pick up on those things.
You're like, I'm
like, it's about the journey, not the destination. But I haven't really noticed anything about where I'm going.
Why do I follow you so much?
Because I can read a map.
I do.
I can read a map.
That's all I do. So she doesn't know this yet for our next adventure. Well, maybe I did tell you. I want to bring Marley.
Oh, great. Yes, we could bring the dogs.
And
just do a road trip.
Wouldn't that be so much fun?
Yes.
And so taking your best friends with you, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't always have to be...
No, Stella's gone on a lot of backpacking trips with me on the Appalachian Trail, which we're so lucky is so close. Yeah. I mean, she has her own pack. She's been going since she was a puppy. I got her out in Colorado when so she
has his own gear, 100%.
Oh, trust me. I trust her more than I trust the map sometimes. I remember one time she was running and I was like, that's not the trail. Like, get on the trail. And then I break out my map and I'm like, oh my God, that's the trail.
Oh my God. Well, and that's the thing, Marley leads me all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm like, not paying attention, just kind of like,
you're just taking it all in. Exactly.
And then you're just like, they're like, no, Mom, this way. Mm-hmm. I'm literally walking into the middle of nowhere. I'm like, how did you know that? Today, actually on our hike, Marley got in all of this mud. Mm-hmm. I was just like, do not come near me.
So we've been taking the dogs on a 3.5 mile hike every morning. And Camus, he's 5 years old. He's a big Siberian Husky. He's just getting off leash because Huskies are synonymous for running away. And she's another Husky, has always been off leash. So she's fine. Well, his favorite thing is getting in mud and going face first into it too, like full mud bath. And she's like, well, if he's doing it, I'm going to do it, Mom. And I'm like, oh God. And so they have to get full baths and they stink every day. And I'm like, you guys are swamp monsters. So I started calling them Swamp Monster. And I invested in a Dyson, a Roomba iRobot thing for vacuuming. And then also another one for washing the floor because it's getting so bad. And you can name them. I named it Swamp and Monster.
Perfect. That sounds like my car.
It can definitely get dirty with the dogs for sure.
But it's 100% worth it. And there's something about traveling or, camping, adventuring with your dog. If it's one of those ones that will at least warn you, Marley will tell me when there's something not good around, mm-hmm. And so he's little, but he's mighty. And so having your pets around when you're going out, when you're hiking, when you're camping, it's fun. It's not in so many places, especially the outdoor ones, will allow these pets,
Yeah.
there's a lot of accessibility for them.
Yeah. That's the best thing. I mean, Stella will, if there's, most dogs would run after something. Stella sits and waits for me like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. You need to come guide me. And I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
Because we saw a horse
Marley's
the other
right in
day and she was really struggling. He was like,
Marley's kind of in the middle.
Mhm.
He'll like bark at statues of buffalo, and he'll be like,
okay,
I don't trust you.
I've done weirder things.
Thank you. So what is on our bucket list? I know there's the West and so on and so forth. Like, what's on your bucket list? I said zip lining. I definitely want to do that. But
Eventually I want to go to like Norway.
What's in Norway? To backpack?
Yeah, to backpack.
Okay.
Oh yeah, not to like. I mean, we can find a nice hotel there too. But it just looks beautiful. I mean, if you go online and you look at some of the hiking that they have, I mean, it's just beautiful.
What was the place in Italy that had? Remember, we were thinking about backpacking it because at every stop on the trail was like a winery or something like that.
That's right. I don't remember the name of it. But yeah, Europe knows how to do it right. I have to tell you, they have figured it out. Like the countries will put money into these trails. Every single camping spot, like in America, a camping spot is like maybe you get a slat of wood that you could put your tent on. And if you're really lucky, they'll have firewood for you. In Europe and overseas, I mean, it's like full mini hotels. They've got beer and wine and like
bacon.
Yeah, bacon and eggs in the morning with coffee. I'm like, oh my God.
In your PJs, yes. Meeting Sven and all of the other travelers.
And you meet great people.
Yeah, and I think that's like one of my most favorite things, for anybody, for introverts, for extroverts. When you can meet people from other countries and see how they live and even see what they think of us, I think that is one of the most always the most eye-opening conversations that I have with Europeans.
Well, especially when I travel with you. I just remember being in the food tent and you break out your spoons and you start singing and what was it? We Will Rock You.
Yeah.
And everyone starts really getting into it and banging on the tables. And I'm like, I would never do that. She's so much cooler than me.
No, and everybody starts sharing their food, and at that point, yeah, the table next to us was just like, we have so much extra porridge, and like it's a community out there, and it's really not as scary as everybody says. I personally have not run into a situation where I felt like life-threatening outside of that time I dangled off a cliff, but like not from people.
No, the people that you meet are on the same page as you. I mean, they are you from just like another country or another age or another gender or whatever, but you're all out there for the same reason. Nobody's out there because
don't go to the ghetto.
Yeah, I mean, you're all there to work hard and to, sleep on rocks sometimes. It's not comfortable. You don't want to have to worry about hanging your bag of food in a tree so a bear doesn't come eat you, but like
100%. And, along with the people, the experiences are insane. There's this thing called the Northern Lights, and it happens in the US, but you can view it the best in Europe, in different parts of Europe. And it typically only happens for a short period of time of the year. So everybody gambles when they book their vacations, and they just hope to see this magnificent display of nature. And so basically what it is, I don't know the scientific version of what it is, but it's literally just beautiful light, different colors, just twirling around in the sky. And it lights up the whole sky like an IKEA showroom.
No, it really feels like you're on drugs. And I've never done any psychedelic drugs, but I can just imagine that if I did, that's exactly what it would be like. I mean, it was
to the point where we had given up on catching like a really, really good scene of it. And so we had fallen asleep. And all of a sudden, I woke up because the tent was filled with light. And I go, Katie. And we just ran.
Oh my God, I think I almost broke the zipper of my tent trying to get
out of the tents, just trying to get a view of this because
it was magic.
Because, it's magic. You know, when you see what nature can do, you
Yeah.
really have hope. You know what I mean? When you travel, you meet actually good people and you realize there is more good in the world than there is bad. You know, you see things that 1% of the world has seen, and you become a part of that community and that experience, and there's just nothing like it. And plus it makes you a fucking interesting person.
Yeah, which makes it especially frustrating when you walk into a certain sporting goods store and they talk to you like you have no idea what's going on. Like, okay, I'm not going to like Musqueamicut to go camping, dude.
I love it. I love it. So, did you finish your bucket list? We got a little off topic.
Oh yeah, so sorry.
No, Norway. You were
like
talking
Norway.
about Norway.
I don't know if I have a real bucket list though. I just want to do it all.
Yeah, I got
just
you.
Give it all to me.
I got you. Okay, so I was going to bring this up, and you guys tell me if you've ever done this before, because I'm dying to do it, and I'm dying to go to like a festival. So it's the air balloons.
Okay.
So I've never been. Have you been in one?
No.
I want to go in one, and
Okay.
I want to go to like a festival, and it's like,
Can it be a wine country?
I think it can.
Okay.
I think it's in like Utah.
Well, that's not wine country.
I think there's not. Oh no, not Utah. No,
California.
No.
Oh,
up west, upper west.
A blonde moment.
Upper west. I don't think
We'll
it's
figure it
Oregon.
out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll Google it.
But ballooning.
Okay.
Try that.
I want to do kayak camping or canoe camping. I want to go up the Connecticut River.
Okay.
And keep our stuff in there and then just camp along the Connecticut River.
There are so many guys. What plans do you have for this summer that's going to get you out about, that's going to get you out of your comfort zone, that's going to put you in? I would love to do that. I actually haven't done kayaking in a long time.
Oh, we gotta go.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. But I've never done the camping. I've only ever done like go out and like just paddle around a little bit. I've never done any like.
And there are so many islands on the Connecticut River, and I've camped on so many. Like I can't reveal the one island that I go to because I can't. I'm so grimy like that. I don't reveal some of my camping spots. Are you like that? Do you have any?
I don't think I have any.
Oh my! I have two.
So.
I have two that I
share the
reveal the location.
I share the wealth. I do go to a festival where I camp every year, and I don't let anybody come with me. I mean, my family goes, but I'm like, if I'm in a relationship, I'm like, you're not invited.
Sorry. Love you. Well, this has been so great. You are the adventure queen as far as I'm concerned. You know, I just don't run into anybody who does as much.
Well, I couldn't do it without you, honestly.
We do it together. We really do, from planning to,
which is almost half the fun. I gotta tell you, pour some rosé and map out a trail you want to hike. It's a good time.
Spend some money. It always ends in a shopping spree and like Gucci. I don't even know. But you guys, I hope this inspired you to get out there, try something new, from kayaking different islands to backpacking in another country. There's so much out there for you to explore, but nature just does something that you can't get anywhere else. And it makes you interesting. Like when you have stories to share.
But there's really nothing like getting to the top of a mountain that you've really struggled and you were like, I can't do this. Like, this is too tough. I just want to quit and turn back. And you get to the top and you see that view. And you're just like,
it builds such a
this is worth
foundation.
Everything. Like, good things come with hard work.
That's it. I love it. You guys, thank you so much for tapping into the Be Influential podcast. This was another live broadcast from the Downtime TV studios in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Got my girl here, Miss Katie Smith. If you can hit her card, her digital scan card, you can find Katie. What's the IG? What's Camus? Stella and Camus?
Yeah, so I have two. I have one for my dogs. That's Stella and
Who
Camus.
doesn't?
And the other is Tia.Kiki.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So definitely hit up her digital card. Go follow, go find her. She's doing incredible things and will totally inspire you to get out there. You guys already know me, Angie Legg. Come find me. I am Angie Legg. Definitely hit my card. Thank you so much to our sponsor, 10K Cards, for providing us this awesome opportunity for everyone to kind of reach out to us. And you know, you can go to, you have a Be Influential podcast tab on your card, and you can go and you can see all the different guests, and you can and you can kind of see like who's out there. About a travel agent and a social media manager.
I love it.
Yeah, anytime you need like a really solid network. All right,
I know where to find it.
You already know. So thank you guys so much for tapping in. Peace. Thanks so much for tapping into the Be Influential podcast, where we dare you to be different. I'm your host, Angie Legg, and you can catch me and my co-host, Chantel Durskell, every Friday live at 11 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Clubhouse. And a big shout out to my sponsor, 10K Cards, the modern business card. Scan the QR code and get yours today.